US drone strikes on Pakistani soil must end. That's according to the country's newly elected prime minister, who's once again demanded Washington respect his country's sovereignty. This comes amid mounting reports on the many civilian casualties in America's war on terror. RT's Lucy Kafanov met some of them, and her report contains some graphic images.
The locals call it death in the skies. In Pakistan's northwest tribal region, an American drone as seen from the ground. It's become the weapon of choice in the U.S. war on terror. And this is the damage it can wreak. Under President Obama, more than 300 such strikes on Pakistani soil against alleged al-Qaeda and Taliban suspects. But ordinary civilians also pay a price. This man is one of them. Amin Ullah was on his way to work at a mine near his village when a drone struck the area. He lost his leg in the attack. 3 other miners who were with him lost their lives.
We live in constant fear of another strike. We are simple villagers who are stuck in a war that we didn't ask for. It's a hopeless feeling. Death is above our heads all the time.
Although the attack took place 3 years ago, Amin Ullah says the pain is still severe. The sight of his injuries upsets his 4 children. Meanwhile, depression and anxiety and lingering fear have pushed him to take up tranquilizer pills.
The Americans should be able to tell an ordinary person from a Taliban leader. They should know who they're killing. What did we do to deserve this?
This is my extra an injury in drone attack.
It's a question echoed by Nekbah Dar, who lost part of his hearing, his short-term memory, and nearly his foot.
The drone's shockwave was so intense that it threw us outside, far from the place where we were sleeping. After several minutes, there was another strike and it killed many more people.
Attorney Shahzad Akbar has sued both the U.S. and Pakistan on behalf of the civilian victims. He says they're the voiceless people of Waziristan, isolated by geography and politics.
I'd simply call it a concentration camp, that you have built a wall of military and militants, and behind that wall you're keeping more than 800,000 people who are not allowed to come out, and no one from the rest of the country is allowed to go in. And that's the kind of laboratory which US is using to use and test its drone program.
In many ways, the epicenter of the CIA's highly classified drone program is a black hole on the map, a region of Pakistan off limits to outsiders, especially Westerners. Now, evidence of the drone strikes is almost impossible to get, but these were smuggled to Islamabad from the tribal areas. They're believed to be fragments of actual Hellfire missiles, retrieved from a war zone most Americans never get to see.
Fragments collected by Noor Bahram, a local journalist who spent years documenting the civilian toll of drones, especially on children. Disturbing images of the living and the dead. For Noor, it's personal.
Whenever my 3-year-old daughter hears a plane, she runs inside and won't sleep that night. The children here have been traumatized by the drones. The sound of a door banging shut is enough to terrify them.
And that fear can turn to anger, a new generation radicalized by the war.
By carrying out drone strikes, killing innocent people who are not part of the conflict, you're just widening the conflict. You're giving a reason to people who were not part of the conflict here to become part of the conflict.
Of course, this has made me hate the Americans. We are angry and want revenge. They've destroyed our lives, my parents, my wife, my children. We all see America as our worst enemy now.
While promising to rein in their use, the White House says drones are both legal and effective.
This is a targeted, focused effort at people who are on a list. Drones have not caused a huge number of civilian casualties. It is not something that's being...
When translated, a defense that's cold comfort for the victims. Lucy Kafanov, RT, Pakistan.